Well, it looks like we finally have the Rings of Power to have a little look at, and it's safe to say, guys, we were all wrong. We were all wrong on our predictions about this show being absolute garbage. This show is visually amazing. Visually, it's amazing. It's kind of 50-50, really. But no, of course, it turned out the way we expected it to turn out. All the red flags were there for this show. And once again, we've been proven right. We've been proven right again. I think the only show so far that has broke the trend of showing red flags and not turning out the way we expect is House of the Dragon. And I think there was a review out there that said, the Rings of Power puts House of the Dragon to shame. It doesn't. It doesn't. House of the Dragon, 10 times better than this. It really is. In this, because I've seen the second episode, which I'm going to do in another video. So we're just going to kind of focus on the first episode. But yeah, there's no characters that are interesting. It's a very boring, overly long. What else can I say? The dialogue is piss poor. They try and give off like analogies and stuff like that that just don't work. Don't go anywhere. It just sounds stupid. When the characters are talking to each other, they say things that actually contradicts what's actually happened. There's so many issues. Probably every single aspect in this episode as I say, visually, it's kind of 50-50. There's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. I think in terms of the music, I think the only music that I probably like in this is probably more of the darker stuff. The rest of it is horseshit, really. We've heard a lot about this. Oh, it's like the Lord of the... It's not. There's no feeling of Peter Jackson's trilogy or Tolkien's books. There's no, corporate, soulless sludge. That's just, what the show is. What this episode is. It really, in terms of plot, there's not that much to talk about because not much happens. They just introduce characters that we still don't really know anything about them. Don't know anything about them at all. They just fucking... Galadriel's a bitch. That's about all we know about Galadriel. The Mary Sue and Karen stuff is all true. That is what she's not a likable person, a likable character. Morfydd Clark's deliveries of some of these lines is, as I say, piss poor. It really is. I don't know what it is with the deliveries, but it doesn't come across naturally. There's nothing, no lines that come across natural. I think the only kind of natural dialogue, or just speaking naturally, is probably the Harfoots. But they're probably like the most boring part of the show. They really are. But I don't want to spend too time rattling on. I kind of just want to get into it because I'm already late. I was meant to do it yesterday. I ended up not having time. So now I've spent about maybe 4 hours just going through the first episode. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. I've got to try and get all my notes together for episode 2 so we can get that done. I can get that out as soon as possible. Because, I just kind of fucked up a bit by just... Take me a while. Take me a little while, but I've got all my trusty notes. There's some stuff that I'm just going to kind of bring up examples for because... especially with the dialogue, there's so much time you could spend just talking about how shit the dialogue is that it's really only worth pulling up examples. Because I don't want to be here forever. Because I'm not going to say we won't be here long, because I always say that and we end up here for like an hour. So we may be a little while, but we just dive into it. Again, so we're starting off with the elves. The elves don't feel like elves. Don't look... There's no like difference with them to just humans, just men. There's no difference among most of them. They just come across as everyday regular people. That there's no nobility or anything like that. It's just we're about to see this is how they portray the elves to begin with. But we get like a voiceover from Galadriel, and she's talking about I don't know, evil evil doesn't start in the beginning or some shit, and then starts talking about light and all that sort of stuff. It's again, and yeah, a lot of it just doesn't match what's actually happening, because they talk about evil in the beginning, and then we just completely go somewhere else. It's like, no, you were just talking about evil. Where are we going? But it starts off as, it looks like we were all right about this, that yes, Galadriel gets bullied. But it, again, elves bully another, no. Why are you portraying elves in that way? I really don't understand that. It's like, no, elves should really be above this. That's how you make them different to other races, is you have them, they're a bit more, as we say, noble. They're not just going out and going, no, we're going to bully people. But she's like she's a bit of a weirdo, sits off on her own. She's already a bit of a bitch here, to be honest. But she puts some paper boat in the, I'm guessing it's paper, like this little boat in that, then it springs up and it sails, and then all the mean kids throw stones at it. They just start, like the elves just start throwing stones at it, and then Galadriel goes for this boy's throat. So again, yeah, so you can see her, like, just again, these are elves. It's like this. Why are you portraying them this way? Don't know. But again, it doesn't even make sense, because they're trying to. It's like, we know they're trying to portray it as, no, she's just a victim, yet she fights back instantly. So it's kind of contradicts itself a bit. And then we get into an analogy from her brother, which is just, I'm like, what the fuck are you going on about, mate? What are you going on about? He just starts talking about, do you know the difference between ships and stones? It's like, what the fuck are you going on about? It's like constantly filled with shit like that. It's like, what? I'm sorry? I did take note of some of this, because I'm just like, what the fuck are you going on about? So yeah, he says, do you know why a ship floats and a stone cannot? I've got multiple reasons. But they're trying to go for some analogy. Again, they're trying to make it seem confusing. No, they're trying to make it confusing so it looks like it's good. That's basically what they're trying to do. So that's why it's, what's the difference between a stone and a boat? What? Don't know. The stone sees the stone only sees downwards. The ship's gaze, it goes up. The ships gaze up. No, they gaze forward. Ships go forward. They gaze forward where they're going. But it's basically some spiel about darkness and light and stuff. And then Galadriel asks, what is yeah, but the light reflects on the water as well as in the sky. So how do I know? She starts asking what up and down is. Well, up is up there, down is down there. Don't know what to tell you. But because light reflects on the ocean, she doesn't know what light to follow. I don't know. They bring it up at the end, so we kind of come back to this. But I'm just like, I don't get what you're talking about. You're just wasting my time. Is that what you're doing? Why? I don't know why you try an analogy with a stone and a fucking ship. Why is that the analogy? I don't know what they were trying to go for. So that's that. They have that little analogy and stuff like that. Then it starts going into the prologue stuff, and very disappointing. Lasts a few minutes, not as long as what we thought it was. It's like 2-3 minutes, something like that, and it's basically talking about Morgoth brought darkness to their lands in I'm forgetting the name of it now, in Valinor. In Valinor, so the elves go off to war in Middle Earth. So we see that scene of a brother, and for some reason I don't really get this, because the orc, rather than just killing him, just holds him back, just holds him, and then he starts yelling over his shoulder. Why is the orc not just stabbing you? Because like we know, like he dies, but I'm like, why is it just holding him back? Why? I don't really get all that. But basically talking about, so Middle Earth was left in ruin. And then we get this little thing from the from the old trailer, if I can actually find the bloody frame, but it's the stack of helmets. It's like so. Originally, when I seen this in the trailer, I thought, oh, it must just be in a dream or something like that, a vision. But no, it's actually real. Somehow they've managed to stack all these helmets like this. Why? I don't know. Seems to me like the elves would probably want that back. Why would they just go, nah, just pile more? Why? I don't know. But again, I don't get why you'd stack them that way, and how you got it to stack that way. Don't know. And then so we get a little glimpse of Sauron. Then she talks about how so the mark of Sauron is on her brother. So because her brother's task was to go and find Sauron. So now that is her task. So now she's going on some sort of revenge quest that she's absolutely obsessed with. Obsessed with Sauron. Comes across like she just wants to give him a blowy or something. That's how it comes across. Because you're not fucking shut up about him. Just absolutely obsessed. And it's like some of these lines you do have to point out because she tends to repeat herself. Not just her, but a lot of characters in this they repeat lines that they've just said it. You just said it, and then you just say it in a different way. Because I think, so this line is, so she says, we hunted him. We hunted him. We hunted Sauron for centuries or something. It's like, no, you don't need to say hunted. It's like, you just said he's been hunted. But they've been trying to find Sauron. She's been on this massive journey for centuries, as she says. So her and her men, because she's the commander of the Northern armies, they've been together for centuries. And there's a reason I bring that up, but we'll kind of get to it. So they're climbing up this mountain because they did it in Game of Thrones. They climb up the mountain, and then we finally get into the stupidity, because there is a lot of dumbness within this episode. But they're climbing up the mountain, and then they look up, and Galadriel's just fucking blasting up them. They get up the top, and she looks at the camera and says, Rey Skywalker. That's what she says. Honestly, she might as well say that. But yeah, already she's blasting up the mountain quicker than the rest of them, of course. Then we start getting into the proper dumbness, where so basically the gist of it, they've just climbed, these guys and all that have just climbed up a big fuck off mountain, and then he says, let's just camp here and then go home. Why did you climb the mountain first? Why would you climb the mountain and then say, all right, let's go home now? It's like, no, why would you not say that down the bottom? Say that down the bottom. Oh, and it's like, again, we get lines in this as well which completely contradict what we're just seeing on screen, where he basically says, how is living flesh to endure in this? How long can living flesh endure where even sunlight fears to tread? While sunlight is on his face, there's literally sunlight in the shot, and he says, sunlight fears to tread. It's like, no, there's sunlight here. Just look up. Just look up. So there's loads of lines like that just completely contradict what's happening. I don't know if anything else. I forget if anything else happens on this. No, she just says, the order has been given, or something like that. So they're still going to go on the march looking for Sauron. So they're going through the snow. This is the part from the trailer where the guy falls on the floor. She's just like, fuck him. Let's just continue. Just continue. And then we get a part where she pretends to give a shit and goes to the guy that fell. Then what's funny about this scene is, so the guys just fell, and then that guy that we've just seen that said the stupid shit about sunlight, he says, everyone who's journeyed here has never seen it, has never found this. So they're looking for a stronghold. They're looking for a stronghold. And he says, what does he say? He says, there's nothing out here. And then the stronghold appears. It's like, I know you're in a rush to get stuff done, although it doesn't seem like it because nothing happens. I know you're in a rush, but why? I don't know why you'd have it that way. Now it's just contrived. It's like he says it, and then they see the fucking tower. It's like, great. So we found that then, even though before he said that no one's ever found it before, never found it, and they've just stumbled upon it. And the lightning like shines, and they see the Disney castle without its makeup. What it really is underneath the hood. So they've now found this stronghold. We're coming to more cringe dialogue that is just so shit. So shit. So this elf over here, you can see him just over there in the left hand side. He starts like, putting his hand in the flames, saying, "I can't feel my hands." And then she says, "No, this place is so evil that even the warmth from our torches can't give off warmth." So what is this? It's such an evil place. Your torch can't even give off heat. Can't even. How is it fucking lit then? How is it lit? Explain that. Explain that. But when it's so evil, so cold that your fire doesn't give any warmth. Don't know what that's about. So they can journey on. She sees this solid, thick fucking ice and just punches it. Just punches it. It's like, and again, there's no like thing she comes across to go, oh, it's frozen over. There must be a doorway there. It doesn't really. It's like, why did you think to look there? Why did you think, oh, there's a doorway in there? When like the whole place is covered in this thick ice. They could have had something like, maybe there's wind coming through a bit. Maybe she licks her finger and puts it in the air. Where's it coming from? And then she finds it that way. No, it's just, there's a bit of ice. Watch me punch it. I'm just going to punch solid ice. Not going to, her wrist doesn't break or anything like that. You would think it would, so she just punches that because she's a woman. So strong. That's probably why. So then we get CSI Tolkien. CSI Amazon, I guess. Where they come in this room. Apparently these orcs were messing about with some dark magic or some shit. And then look, a bit of frost falls down and lands on this table, and then it goes like with smoke. So she pours water on it. Again, it's just, no, we just walk to the thing. Oh, it's there. She must have read the script. I think that's what happened. It's just there, so she pours water on it, and then it freezes, even though it's hot. I don't know. It freezes over, even though when we first seen the frost, it like again it's smoke. Like, oh, this thing is melting, like melting hot, boiling hot, and then it freezes. So yeah, we get the mark of Sauron, and then that guy's like, "All right, let's go home now." It's like, no, you just found a clue. You just found a clue. Why are you going to go now? Why do you want to go home now? But it turns out that Galadriel has defied King Gil-galad by, like, they shouldn't have been out for as long as they have been. So she's defied him because she doesn't have to listen to him because she's a woman. That's basically what that is. Did I write anything else down for this part? You just gotta look at your bloody notes to make sure I'm not missing anything out. Yeah, so yeah, she wants to go, like, yeah, he's basically on about how they all want to go home, all the men and that want to go home, and she's like, nobody more than me, I want to go home more than you. It's like she's making it into a competition. It's like, no, they actually want to go home. You still want to continue. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that they want to go home more. And then we get into an action scene which just has loads of problems in it. Absolutely loads of problems. So this is in fact a snow troll. The guy yells snow troll. For some reason, everybody else hears him, but Galadriel doesn't. He's not far away from him. Far away from, I wonder why I'm calling Galadriel him. You wonder why. So, yeah, I don't get why Galadriel didn't already hear him yell snow troll, because he yells it really loudly. He's not far away. But we get our little troll fight. Then she comes out, and as this, because the snow troll throws a big bit of ice at these elves, and then she just comes out and she just stands there for, I kid you not, for about 15 to 20 seconds, just sitting watching this snow troll. Again, it's probably down to the editing, but she doesn't come in the frame. She comes out now, she can clearly see the snow troll, but yet she doesn't do anything for about 15 to 20 seconds. Then this guy goes, run up my sword. It's like, why are you not just going to fucking do something to it? Because now we're getting the part where only Galadriel is allowed to fight it. So now all the guys that were with her are just standing about. They're just standing about watching her. And, this kind of brings us to, they've been a team. They've been out here for centuries searching for Sauron. So they should be able to, work really well together by now. It shouldn't be difficult to get the gist of how everybody gets involved. No, she just does it on her own because she's a whammon. That's essentially why. But it's just, again, it's like, I think with some stuff you have to compare to Peter Jackson's trilogy when they fight a troll. It's like they're all fighting together. But in this, it's like, nah. Galadriel could do it on her own. She's the bestest ever. Bestest ever. We got another one of those characters. Bestest ever. That's our only character trait. And being a bitch. And an asshole. And then her men throw their swords down. She's like, the order has been given. We must take our leave. So they go, nah, and they throw their swords down. I couldn't help but think, you need those swords, though. You might need them. You might need those swords. So her men have abandoned her, so she's on her own now. She's going to go at it alone. She don't need no man. Don't need him. Don't need him at all. Again, it's like they just found a clue. They found the Mark of Sauron, so why would they leave? Why would they want to leave? They've been out, oh, right, we found the mark. So, yeah, we need to continue. But no, they just, throw their swords down after they've climbed up a big fucking mountain and walked through. It's like, you might as well keep going now. You might as well. But no, they throw down their swords because Galadriel doesn't need them anyway. Then we finally, it's taken a while, isn't it? Then we finally get to the Harfoots, which is really the most boring part of it. It really is. It's just kind of thrown in there randomly. When we're on something, and then they just go, nah, now we're over here. They do that a few times. But they introduce the Harfoots that shouldn't even be here. They introduce the Hobbits, because that's what they actually are. But there's these two hunters walking by. They hear something run by them, and the guy says, oh, that's Harfoots, that is. That's Harfoots. So they already know about them. How? I don't know. But yeah, for some reason, the Harfoots are running about like it's a horror film. It's like, no, it ain't The Ring. It ain't The Ring. I know it says Ring in your title, but it ain't the Ring where something flies by you. I don't really know why they're doing that. But so those men go off, and all the Harfoots, I don't, why are they hiding in the grass? Why are they hiding in all that? But then they start, so they've just had, tarps and all that over their little houses and tables. It's like, yeah, that doesn't conceal anything. It's like, if you put a cloth or something like that over a table, it still looks like a fucking table. A person would be like, why is there huts and shit down there that are square? I don't remember square bushes. But that's their little camp. That's Nori's mother. You know, should we even wonder why? But that's Nori's mother, and they're going, "Where's the girl? Where's the whatever they say?" So yeah, that's Nori. That's Nori. We just had a look at her mum there. Doesn't quite add up, but whatever. So yeah, they're going to pick berries or some shit. A fat friend falls through the. She can't. She has to be pulled through the fence. Then she falls in mud over her face. Doesn't make a difference. So because the Harfoots are smelly, they're already smelly looking. So they're already covered in dirt anyway. So it doesn't make any difference. So there's Frodo and Sam, the female version. So they come across. They come across, if you can just kind of see it there, it's like it's a wolf paw printed into the dirt. So she's like, "Oh, we got to go now." So yeah, they all go, and then we get a glimpse of the wolf, and it's just like, why is the wolf not attacking them? So basically, what they're doing, they're trying to set something up for a payoff later. We've already seen it in the trailer where all the wolves surround the incoming wizard. But it's wrapped around something dumb. Because, no, surely the wolf it doesn't want berries, it wants flesh. So surely it would just seal them and be like, right, let's get them. So the better course of action would have been we just see the paw print. That's all you see. Then that sets up something for later. Rather than just, no, he sees them. He's a wolf. He doesn't want to attack them, though. Even though he wants a good lunch. But it was just kind of a pointless scene. Then we get to Gayrond. He's definitely he's sitting in a tree writing. Well, he's writing a speech for Gil-galad, but it's like it comes across. It's like he's writing poetry or something. Doesn't come across like Elrond. Then these elves come along and saying, you're not allowed to come to the. You're now not invited to the council meeting or whatever it may be for. It's only the high elves that are coming now. And then they say, your friend is here. And he says, Galadriel's here. Why didn't you tell me? It's like, we just did. It happens in so many things. Where it's like, no, that already happened. So Galadriel is back from slaying trolls. They make a big point about that. Elrond says, Commander of the Northern armies, warrior of the wastelands, I half expected you to arrive caked in grime and mud. She says, this time just frostbite and troll blood. Again, every delivery is fucking awful. Because they're trying to make it epic, but it's just the delivery of it is absolutely awful. It really is. It doesn't. Yeah, just the delivery of most lines, at least from Morfydd Clark, is, again, it's probably the way that she's been directed to say things. But it's just, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's horribly put together. So then they walk down these steps. Galadriel says, I need more men. And he's like, you've just got it. You've just got it. He talks about you defied King Gil-galad, but he'll forget about all that, and he'll give you rewards for your accomplishments. But don't test him again. So she's not happy. She's not happy that there's a king that gives orders. She's like, no, I want to do what I want. And then we're back to the Harfoots again. Again, they just weigh down and then they start talking about, oh, you missed the men. You missed the hunters. They were as big as boulders. I just wondered why boulder? Like, you literally live under trees. And you're going, they look like boulders. Did they? Because, I don't think he says as tall as boulders or something like that. So then we get the stuff out of the first trailer that come out about Haven't you ever wondered beyond our wondering, or something? Haven't you ever wondered the wonders beyond our wondering? Something like that. So then I find it funny with it, like these Harfoots, because they're portrayed to be like again, she just says beyond our wondering, yet this mum somehow knows what elves, men, and dwarves do. So how do you know that if you don't go out beyond your wondering? How do you know this? So then the mum goes on to explain to Nori what Harfoots do. She explains this to a Harfoot. So it's just bad exposition because it doesn't make sense. Why would she be telling Nori this? It's like Nori is a fucking Harfoot. She's not a dwarf. She's not a dwarf. She's lived with Harfoots her entire life. She is a Harfoot. She knows what they do. Don't know why you're telling her what they do. That's for our benefit, but it just comes across unnatural. So we get that piece. She just explains about, oh, we wonder and stuff like that. We have each other. So, yeah, now we're back to the elves again. They've really done nothing in terms of plot. Like, we know the series is about Galadriel trying to find Sauron, but that hasn't really progressed. Because most of that part at the start we seen was mostly prologue and stuff like that. That was a part of the prologue. So yeah, as their reward, they're being sent off to the Undying Lands, which is around about 400 miles away from where they currently are. I say that now because it's going to come up later on. It doesn't quite make sense. But yeah, Galadriel doesn't seem happy because Gil-galad is basically saying, they've come back, we didn't find any evil, so our days of peace are now ahead of us. She's not happy about that because, you know, of course, she's obsessed with Sauron. She wants revenge. So she has, even some of her facial expressions, it's like, it doesn't come, it's not likable. It's like you're not portraying her as a likable person. She just comes across as huffy and whiny. You know, it reminds me of that other show we've been watching at the moment, She-Hulk. So yeah, she's just like all that shit. So they're getting sent off to the Undying Lands. Then she's at the tree where her brother is, and this is where we get more stuff we've seen in the trailer. Just make sure I'm right where my notes are. Yeah. So she's looking at her brother, and she's like, I'm going to refuse going to the Undying Lands. So he's like, no one has ever refused. He tells her about, oh, I told Gil-galad about the sigil, the Sauron sigil you found. So yeah, we get, like, he says, oh, it's because she doesn't want to go because she wants to continue to find Sauron. So she said, what did she say? So yeah, so Elrond says to her, it's only natural you would feel conflicted, and then she has like an eye twitch. A fucking face does this, and she says conflicted. But that's what it's like fucking like that. It's like, yeah, calm down. It's the facial expression you're probably going to see in my thumbnail. I'll maybe see if we kind of come to it and you can get a look at it. But yeah, it's fucking. It's like she's got crazy eyes as well. Crazy eyes. Look, shots like that. Yeah, her eyes are fucking off their tits. Yeah, it's a type of girl you don't want to go out with. See someone with eyes like that, fucking run. That's all I say. That's all I say. But yeah, she has a little meltdown because he said conflicted. That must be a trigger word. She has a face spasm. And then we get all the stuff. We get all the stuff. So this is where we get repeating lines again. She repeats the same line 3 times. It's like, you don't need to continue to say it. Just comes across like playground talk. This is what they talk about in preschool. So it's I am grateful you have not known evil as I have. So that will do. You don't need to add anything else onto that. But then she goes on to say that you have not seen what I have seen. So no, you've just said that. You just said that. You don't need to say it again. Just pick one or the other. Pick one or the other. And then Elrond says, I've seen my share. So you would think, right, that's where you stop it then. But then she says, you have not seen what I have seen. And then, funnily enough, it actually continues on, and they just keep saying it back and forth. Where Elrond just said, yes, I have. And she says, no, you haven't. Yes, this goes on for the rest of the episode. That's what actually happens. But no. So she's now repeated the same thing 3 times in a row. So there is really a lot of that. It's like, no, you only need to say it the one time. But it's just treating the audience like they're dumb. Like we see with a lot of shows and that now. And then Elrond does actually bring up a good point about, like, if you go out and try and find Sauron and you're wrong, how many elves will you let die on your watch? She, of course, doesn't really give a shit about that, to be honest. Let's be honest. Don't care about that. And then, yeah, he says lines like, that one more orc on the point of your blade. Shit like that. And then we get the stuff up, more stuff out of the trailer, which is put up your sword. And she says, without it, what am I to be? And he says, my friend. I'm like, yeah, but what? What do you mean? How's that an answer? How is that an answer? That's not what she asked. What am I to be without it? My friend. Oh, that's good and all, but no, what am I actually? You know, it's like if you enjoy a job, whatever it may be, and you're about to get the sack, and you say, "What am I to be?" and someone says, "My friend." No, I need another job though. What am I to be without this? My friend. I'm like, it's just like, what? How does that make sense? But we're off again. We're finally going to see men, the race of men, and elves. We also get more elves that don't really feel like elves at all. But yeah, we finally get to see Arondir. I kind of do actually feel bad for the guy, because he's trying to do a British accent, except because I believe he's from like Puerto Rico or something like that. So now and again, it's like, because sometimes he sounds like he's mumbling and stuff like that to try and conceal his actual accent, or some of it just actually blatantly comes out. It's like, I thought we were in, an England type place. Everyone else has British accents. With some of them Irish. What's funny about the Harfoots is some of them have Irish accents and some of them have like southern English accents. It's like, why do they all have different accents? It's like, because they've been together forever. There's no like one group met up with them and then another group met up with them. So there's a lot of like, the accents are just really a bit inconsistent, especially with the Harfoots. But yeah, around it, yeah, sometimes the Puerto Rican accent comes out. So yeah, basically how it is set up is that the elves are watching over, like, there's not a watchtower, but they're watching over this place. They're basically like cops. That's kind of what the elves' presence are within the race of men. So he comes around asking, has there been any trouble? So the reason why they're so watchful of these places is because these places were loyal to Morgoth in the time of the wars. So they're still like holding that against them for some reason. But then we get a racism where, yeah, he's asking about, because when he comes in, they're talking about some poisoning, and then they kind of like shut up and go, like they don't want him to know about it. Then this boy over here slams his wooden cup on the table and says, I think I need to go to my next page. Yeah, he says, "Let it go, knife ears." That's the insult, really. Knife ears. And he says, "The lot of you lump us in with, the lot you lump us in with died off 1,000 years ago. When are you people going to let the past go? Because of course, why would you hold it against like thousands of years ago? This, this little village, they were loyal to Sauron and to Morgoth, and now we're 1,000 years removed from that, and you're still like, nah. We're just going to hold the past. We're going to hold people that died against you. I don't really know what they're going for with this. Because they're still like... Because after the guy says that, Arondir says, the past is with us all. There's no getting away from it. It's like, no. That's why I don't... It sounds like a bit of an allegory to me that they're going for. But it's like, no. No, those people died. Why would these people be the same as the people from 1,000 years ago? Don't know about... They don't know who... Never met Morgoth. Why would they be loyal to someone they're never gonna... Someone that's dead? So then it's kind of just, the sooner you elves fuck off, then our real king can... I don't know who their king is. I don't know. This boy's like 15 or something. So he comes out of there, and then we get tits in your face. I as an activist. I forget, and I'm Bronwyn. That's the name. So yeah, these two are kind of a thing. They're trying to set up some love story like Arwen and Aragorn, except it doesn't come across as love. It comes across as, we'll just say lust. I could go a bit more graphic with it, but I think we'll leave it. So that's more of how it comes across. She gives him like little seeds for a flower that he says he hasn't seen since he was a child. And she traded it with someone passing through. But it's like, surely you've been around most of Middle-earth. So how have you never come across it? Then she asks, are there healers in your race? It's like, well, yeah, of course there is. Why wouldn't there be healers? So it's a bit of a dumb question, but they really just want to get it on. That's what they want to do. They just want to get under the sheets. He just wants to go to town on her, quite clearly. Doesn't come across as love. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Then he has this conversation. This other, again, the elves don't come across like elves. This guy starts saying, "Oh, what have you been doing?" Talking like a right twat. Then we get another scene where they're basically telling he's telling Arondir about like the history with elves and women, or elves and men going out together, like dating. I don't know, whatever you want to, in a relationship. It's like, yeah, and then he says, "Why you tell? Like, I already know this." But again, it's for our benefit. But again, it doesn't make sense. Why is he telling another elf this? It's like these stories you're talking about. All elves, all the elves know them. So why are you telling him this? But then they get they get a letter from Gil-galad saying that now it's safe to go home. Like, we're now at peace within. There's peace now been brought to Middle-earth. So they're now going to be going, which of course he ain't happy about, because he hasn't rattled Bronwyn yet. So then the main watchman guy says some shit about leaving. We find out Arondir's been here for like 79 years. Again, this guy doesn't come across like an elf either. None of them come across like elves. They don't come across as any different to anyone else in Middle-earth. They just come across as the same. There's no distinction from them. It's like, yeah, they've got pointy ears. Other than that, there's nothing really about them. Nothing really about them. They've still all got short... Again, that's why... See, getting rid of the long hair and all that, it just kind of... Again, it makes them look like everybody else. Whereas you have them long hair, slender and tall. They actually look like elves. Whereas this, it's just like, nah, just give them pointy ears. and a haircut. Give him a short back and sides. So yeah, he's basically this guy here is again bringing up. So this is obviously what we've already talked about, where because the people were sworn allegiance or were loyal to Morgoth thousands of years ago, they never change. They're still loyal to him. So I don't know what they're going for there, but it's like I don't know why you're holding this over them. So it was thousands of years ago. So these people weren't about in that at that point in time. So then we're back to Bronwyn again. Her son, I forget his name. But he's got, again, even like his, they've all got different accents, every single one of them. There's no consistency within where they live. Her son's got a different accent. So, he's talking about mice scraping the floorboards or something like that. That's going to come up in episode 2, so we can kind of leave that now. So then Arondir comes back. She says, I thought you were leaving. Why are the elves telling them that they're leaving? So I'm not really sure how she has that information. So then it's basically a love scene. We can kind of go for it. We don't really need to talk much about it. Again, they're not, if they're going for love, it just doesn't come across that way. It comes across that they just, they want to get freaky. So, but a guy brings a cow round because Bronwyn's a healer. He says, "Oh, can you heal this cow?" So then, like a load of blood or something comes out the cow's udder. So Arondir asks, "How?" Because this cow got escaped somewhere, got away. So the guy's just found it, and says, and he says, "How far did it go?" He said, east. And then he says, "Oh, to." The guy says to him, "As far as Hordor, something like that. Horden. It's like another village over there." So yeah, first of all, I don't really know why they're like, oh shit. I don't really know why they're like, because we're about to see what's happened to this village, but they don't know that at the minute. So I'm just like, why are you suspicious about that? I suppose you could make that. We'll kind of talk about it. But then we just get a random scene thrown in here. So Arondir's he says, right, I've got to go to this village. The Bronwyn says, oh, I'm coming with you. Don't know why she's going. Apparently she knows people there. But still, it's like, no, he's the elf patrol. He's the patrolling elf. Just let him go. You're gonna leave your son, are you? But yeah, so they have like this epic music going on, and then it cuts to these guys running into a barn. It's like, no, what's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with what we just came off? It just makes it worse because they haven't ended the music they had going, like the oh shit music. But yeah, they go in. It's basically so we can see the sword of Sauron, the stuff we've seen in the trailer. But it's just randomly thrown in there. It's like, why are we going here? We were just going over there a minute ago. But yeah, this guy. So this is a guy from the pub. So I don't know. He delivers some lines very weirdly. He starts going on about your father left you, didn't he? Because the whole village is talking about when the Arondir and Bronwyn were by the well. So this brings up that their dad left, and the boy says my dad died. I don't know. It's not a definitive answer. They just don't know what happened to the dad. But yeah, he happens to have this sword. So we get this thrown in there with the elves going to Valinor. Then it turns out that the reason why they've been sent off to Valinor is because Gil-galad and Elrond conspired to get rid of Galadriel, because from Gil-galad's logic is if she goes looking for evil may come or something like that. Like, even though he's seen the sigil of Sauron, the evidence she brought back, And yeah, he seems to think like, so he kind of believes her. Yeah, he sent her off because otherwise, because if a search continues, then evil will come out. Don't know. I don't really know. And then they introduce Celebrimbor. He's just over there, dressed like a granny. Again, even the costumes in this are like shit. It's just like, why the hell? What the fuck is that? It looks like something your gran would wear. But he doesn't say anything. He just, you know, Elrond is all like simping and all that. He's all like gushing over because he's going to go and work with Celebrimbor. He's going to go off to Erebor, something like that. They're basically going like that's in the second episode, so I don't need to worry about it. But he's going to help him. Then we get The Skies Are Strange. That's about all that was. Then they're, you know, having a lover's quarrel about something. Yeah, it's because she was born in this town that they go into. Some of them are her friends, and he brings up how they were loyal to Morgoth. It's like, why are you still fucking going on about that? It's like 1,000 years ago. So, yeah, she's like, well, those are my friends you're talking about. He's like, it's the truth. She says, like, those are good people. And he says, yeah, that's why I'm with you, something like that. But I don't really know why he brings up all that stuff. And then they find, so this is the town that it's not the town it's a different town. So they just look at that and she says, this is the place. It's like, I thought you had friends here. Why are you not crying? Why are you not going down on your knees and crying or something like that? I don't know. But your reaction, based on what you've told us, you should be sad. But you just say, here it is. Here's the town. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's Horda. Starts with an H. I know that. But finally, we are at the end. Almost. We're almost done. We're almost there, people. And we've been here for quite a while. I haven't even had my dinner yet. I've also got the second episode to get through. So basically what they've been doing here. So Valinor is, I think, round about 400 miles away, very far away. Although, like, you kind of have to bring up in this episode that it's hard to get like what the passage of time here is, because they should not, because it comes across like they've only just left. Like 400 miles on a boat. How long do you think that takes? A few days at least, isn't it? Quite a few days. So they've been. So if we are, in fact, unless we have to accept that no, it's took them an hour, which it's like, yeah, there's no way. So they've been on this ship for days then, and they've just been standing there. They've just been standing the whole fucking way there for days. Just standing like this, holding their swords. So for days. Why? Well, surely you can sit down, and once we get to Valinor, then you can stand up. Then you can stand up in your weird-looking outfits. And they start, like, undressing them and stuff like that. This person tries to take Galadriel's dagger. She's like, nah. She kind of doesn't want to let the elf take it away. Then they see birds in the sky, start singing a weird song. It's kind of the music like this where I'm just not a fan. But they start singing, looking at the songbirds, I guess. But they've been standing like this for fucking days. Unless it's took them an hour. I don't know why it would. But that's very strange. Because they've been showing us, like, as they've been going, them just standing there. So this is when we start. So then we see the meteor there. So Bronwyn and Arondir have found the destruction of this place. it's now nighttime, so they've been standing there at least an hour or two, just looking at this place, have they? But it's the meteor. We see the Ents. Then it brings up the line from the beginning from our brother, because we didn't find out what he ended his shitty analogy on. And it's, what is it? He says so they bring up the line again as if we fucking forgot. Like where Galadriel says, "Oh, if light shines on the water, how am I to know which way's up and which way's down? Which light do I follow?" It's like, yeah, we already heard that part. We remember. Not that much has happened this episode, so it's not that hard to forget. It's not that hard to remember, I mean. But they say that part. It's like, you could have just gave us what the brother said. It's like, yeah, we would have all got it. But again, it's treating the audience like they're dumb. Like they're dumb. So, yeah, he ends it on, sometimes we cannot know until we touch the darkness. So, I don't really know. I'll leave it for other people to figure out. Because I'm at the point where I've been trying to kind of figure out, so does this fucking work or not? Because she, of course, jumps out the boat. And remember, she's about 400 miles away from where she just left. She's in the middle of the fucking ocean. Why is she just jumps in the ocean? Don't matter, though, because we'll talk about it in episode 2. We'll talk about it then. But it's like, why? So her plan is to fucking swim back about 400 miles. It's like, I know she's an elf, but I don't think they can swim that far. I don't believe they can swim that 400 miles. She must think she can do it. Of course she can. Of course she can, but she's just, yeah, jumped out the boat. Because now she's like, no, I must go back and continue my search. But yeah, it doesn't really matter that she's jumped in here. So now, so if we just kind of, I'll bring up the analogy again. Sometimes we cannot know until we touch the darkness. But yeah, first of all, they were talking about light in the sky and in the reflecting on the ocean. Who fucking knows? It's some bollocks. But she's now in the ocean, and like most people, you would think that she'd go, oh shit, I've got to fucking swim back now. I'm just sitting in the middle of the ocean. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter anyway, so whatever. We get ourselves another contrivance in episode 2. So we'll talk about it then. But then a leaf falls in front of Gil-galad, and like it goes black, and then there's like black speech. He hears black speech or something. And then Nori finds the wizard. And if I can find the little frame. But she just, because she's seen the thing explode, the thing hit into the ground. Oh, why can't I? There you go. So yeah, it's basically Sauron's eye. But yeah, we already know this isn't Sauron anyway. We can talk more on that on episode 2. But there you have it. There's the first episode. So Galadriel, we finished that on. Galadriel's now out at sea. In the middle of, the ocean is very big. Very large. She's went about 400 miles. She made it there in about an hour, it looked like. But she's in the middle of the ocean. It's like, why would you jump? It's like, you might as well just accept you're going to Valinor now. You might have just said at the start of it, said, nah, I don't want to go. You said you were going to refuse it. Then you went on it, and then you jumped off it. Again, it's the same with the guys at the start. When they just climbed up a big fuck-off mountain, and then decided, oh, we want to go home now. It's like, me, I would have said that before I climbed the mountain. Because you were climbing that mountain for a while. You put in quite a lot of effort, and they just said, let's go home. So it's the same here. But there kind of be more to talk about in the second episode. But there's not that much here. There's not that much going on. It's just introducing characters that aren't interesting and I couldn't give a shit about. There's not really anything here. Whereas, you compare it to House of the Dragon, the first episode you got Daemon Targaryen, who's interesting, and you're like, oh, I want to see where this character goes. But in this, it just doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. It's all just, oh, let's have the wizard in the middle and have it look like Sauron's eye. It's just shit like that. But there's nothing really pushing the plot forward. There's nothing pushing our characters forward. So I still don't know anything about anybody. Although there's, it comes up in the second episode, and it's more they just another like a person tells us who they are. They don't want to show us who they are. They just tell us. Just tell us. Easier that way, isn't it? Easier that way. But that's kind of most I've got to say on it. But yeah, the dialogue is it's like the dialogue is just blatantly, obviously terrible. Blatantly, obviously. I'm doing the same shit the show does, where I just repeat the same words that mean the same thing. But that's at least we're done with that now. I'm a bit late. I don't know how long this is going to take to process and upload and all that shit. I don't even think I'm going to have enough time to get to the second episode, but I will try. But yeah, I should have that up tomorrow. I've already watched it once. I've got some notes, so it shouldn't take too long to kind of go through, get everything I need, and then we'll come back. It's been an hour, and I'm absolutely starving. I'm starving. And it's just been a nightmare to get to because I was working yesterday, so it's trying to have time to go through the episode, then go for it again to get your notes, then fucking try and record it. Yeah, it was just a no. But I'll be back. Yeah, it's probably going to be tomorrow now. Unless I, pull my finger out, get all my notes and get it recorded after this. I don't see it though. Still got my dinner to get. But yeah, as far as it goes, first episode, just boring, nothing happening, not interesting characters. I'm on this shot here where I'm like, I didn't even point this out, did I? This shit they got in their hair. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I'm not a fan. But yeah, what else is there to say? Again, just dumb shit happening, contrivances. And there's no feeling of the Peter Jackson trilogy or Tolkien actually reading Lord of the Rings. There's none of that feel, none of that heart, none of that soul. This is just corporate. It's just corporate. And we'll see how corporate it is, because we haven't seen that we get their actual opening intro in the second episode, and it's corporate as fuck. It's so corporate. But yeah, that's again, it just, there's no feeling. It doesn't have that feel in there. There's already defenses going out there, by the way. Be ready for these. The Lord of the Rings trilogy was shit anyway. It was shit anyway. So it's the same shit we've seen with Obi-Wan Kenobi, where they say, well, Star Wars was always shit, so therefore this is allowed to be shit. Already seeing defenses like that. We're already seeing, I'll leave it there anyway, but we'll probably get into it in a video tomorrow. But there's episode 1 and done. I'm probably never going to watch it again. I'm not going to watch it again. I can already sense that from this show. I'm not going to want to watch it again. I think that's going to be the same for most people. It's going to be one and done, move on. It's not going to be timeless or anything like that. It's like I can already tell that already. Because it's already it's just fucking boredom. And the dialogue's probably one of the worst parts in this show so far. At least in this episode. It's like I never thought I'd have to keep talking about the dialogue. But there you have it. We could have spoke about that for ages. But I was like, no, I'll just put out a few things because I don't want to be here all day. But let's finish off. So episode 1. Let's finish off. Again, I can't just shut myself up. Got to keep going. But there you have it. Episode 1 is done. On to episode 2 we go. I bet it's going to be amazing. No.